At it again, and another one bites the dust. Or should I say, another one bites the Krispy Kreme. The Krispy Kreme donut, you know? I couldn't help myself, you know? You gotta make a little joke from time to time. But, yeah. Another one bites the dust. Another one down. And 3 more to go. If you haven't figured it out, we got some big news. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to make any more jokes. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. And let's dive in.
I've always said that if there came a point in time in this race where I couldn't see a path to accomplishing that goal, that I would get out. And it's clear to me tonight that there isn't a path for me to win the nomination, which is why I'm suspending my campaign tonight for President of the United States. I know, and I can see it from some of the faces here, that I'm disappointing some people by doing this. People who believe in our message and believe in what we've been doing. I also know, though, it's the right thing for me to do. Because I want to promise you this. I am going to make sure that in no way do I enable Donald Trump to ever be president of the United States again. And that's more important than my own personal ambition. So we have to decide now. We have to decide in the next 10 months, who do we want to be as a country? We forget that people are walking thousands of miles still to get here. We talk about the problems in the border, and there are problems, and we have to fix them. And we have to secure our border, and we have to do it in a way that's smart and sensible and will work, because it's not right to have a porous southern border in this country. But I want you to remember something. Those people who are coming over that border, many of them are walking hundreds, if not thousands of miles to get there, because here is where they see hope. Here is where they see freedom.
Yeah. So first off, Christie, we want Trump. I'll start by saying that. And yes, you are right. We do have a porous southern border. A way you can fix that is building a wall, right? Step 1. Step 2, more border security, more patrol officers, more border officers, right? Patrolling the area. You also could, dig a nice deep trench. Make sure it's real deep, okay? Throw some gators in it, That'll stop anybody from crossing, okay? And then you give the officers some dogs, right? Dogs, because obviously, sometimes you get some fast folks. Dogs are a lot faster than people, just saying. So yeah, problem solved. And don't tell me we don't have the money. Oh, Rich digging something, that's going to cost a lot of money. Putting up a nice secure wall, that's going to cost a lot of money. Well, sending all that money overseas is in the budget, so we can't use it here. Just saying. Some people might say my idea is inhumane, whatever, but if you got a better idea, let me know. Anyway, so you just heard Christie dropping out of the race officially. He's cooked. He's done. It's over with. And all I have to say to, him dropping out is, it's about darn time. It's about time. But, that's not the only thing that happened with Christie. But let's hear from JD Vance really quickly.
Joining me now is Ohio Senator JD Vance. I'm a little tongue-tied because of Nick Saban. I was in the car coming here when I got the news about Nick Saban retiring, and then Prim was like, well, what about Chris Christie? I'm like, well, what about Nick Saban? Your reaction to this news?
Right. Nick Saban retiring is more important than Chris Christie dropping out, right? Whenever I hear about Alabama, I always think of the guy. I can't think of his name right now. But he said, I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. Hey, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the, the fanfare, the loyalty to the Alabama Tide, even though I'm sure you guys already know I'm a Buckeye fan, Buckeye Nation, stand up. OH, baby. OH. Anyway, let's jump back into the video. I'm sorry. I just got sidetracked. I'm sorry.
Well, it's an Ohio State guy. Good news.
Oh,
Nick Saban's out of here. But, on the political front, look, Chris Christie was a guy without a constituency because whatever his personal grudges against Donald Trump, and of course I'm biased, I endorse Donald Trump. I think he made a great president. We'll do so again. The problem is, even if you separate Chris Christie's feelings about Donald Trump, there is no constituency for an open borders, pro-free trade agenda, which is effectively what Chris Christie was offering. We've had it with that. For 40 years, the old guard of the Republican Party offered something. It delivered less freedom, less prosperity, less security. Why would we want to go back? And if you want to run in a Trump GOP or any Republican Party that's going to exist for the next 20 or 30 years, you've got to explain what's going on in the country. How do we fix it? You can't pretend we're living in 2004 because we're just not.
No, and he made a promise tonight, Senator, as he was dropping out. Watch this.
I want to promise you this. I am going to make sure that in no way do I enable Donald Trump to ever be president of the United States again.
Well, he was the first to endorse him in 2016, which I at the time recommended to him that he do, and he did that. And now his promise to his big constituency is, okay, I'm going to be acceptable, so maybe I can go on and do one of these other things, which a lot of these former conservatives or people who called themselves conservatives tend to do.
Well, and Laura, when he says he's going to prevent Donald Trump from becoming president, that just means you're giving a second term to Joe Biden. We've got 12,000 illegal border crossings a day under President Joe Biden.
And Trump is the threat to the country.
It's crazy. I don't know what these people have taken where they don't like what Donald Trump tweets, and so they're going to throw the country to a
personal,
president.
I think there's a lot of personal animus
That's
there.
absolutely what it is, but you need to wake up and actually recognize that the real threat is coming from an open borders president who's making the country weaker to China, who's sending billions of dollars of weapons to overseas conflicts, not preserving it for our own defense. Joe Biden is the threat to American democracy. He's the person we need to defeat. If you don't accept that, you shouldn't be running a Republican primary.
And I have to say, by the same token, and she has a lot more money, and she's polling, okay in New Hampshire now, within single digits in one poll against Trump, is Nikki Haley. That hot mic moment really was the news, because Christie's smart. I mean, I don't agree with him on all these issues, but he's not a dumb guy. I mean, I used to watch his old debates. They were fantastic. That's the guy we always wanted back in national politics. But he knows that Nikki Haley's the Jeb Bush of 2024, does he not?
Oh, that's exactly right. And look, Nikki Haley's entire strategy, we have to remember, Laura, it's to convince enough liberal suburbanites in Massachusetts to cross over and vote Republican in the New Hampshire primary. That is the only thing that she's counting on. I don't think that's a winning strategy in New Hampshire, but it's definitely not a winning strategy nationally. There aren't a whole lot of liberal suburbanites from Massachusetts who are voting nationally in Republican primaries. There's no chance that she can win this primary. Yeah. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. All we're doing is making it easier for Joe Biden to win re-election. We need to unite it behind the nominee of the party. That's going to be Donald Trump.
Yeah, when you add up Vivek and DeSantis and Trump, it's about 86% of the party. So, Senator, speaking of Trump as a threat, former Attorney General Eric Holder told USA Today Monday that there would be incalculable damage to the country if Trump wins. Asked if Obama shares that view, Holder replied, absolutely. I don't think it's a question about that. I think that's what motivates him. I think that's what will continue to motivate him, along with all the private jet travel to Oahu and Martha's Vineyard. They're worried, are they not, about Trump? Because I think this time, if he gets in, that swamp will be drained. And people are going to really see what's at the bottom of that muck in Washington, D.C., and that is a problem for these people.
I think that's exactly right. I think the second Trump administration will be all the things that we liked about the first Trump administration, but really on steroids, and I mean that in a good way, Laura. These guys are completely out of their mind. Eric Holder, the guy who used the power of the federal government to attack Catholic nuns instead of stopping the flow of drugs and fentanyl across the southern border.
Contempt of Congress, too. Yeah, he didn't show up to testify.
It is so interesting they see Donald Trump as such a threat. I'm glad they see him as a threat, because the guy who uses the federal government not to protect our border, but to gang up on Catholic nuns, it's a good thing when he doesn't like Donald Trump. I think that's the best endorsement Trump could ask for.
Your message to Senate Republicans on this, quote, raw deal immigration nightmare that Langford, et cetera, pushed.
You know, I think JD Vance hit the nail on the head with that one. They're afraid because the swamp this time around will officially be drained. And I think, in Trump's first presidency, the first time around, I think he kind of wanted to, but he was still kind of figuring everything out, right? He didn't know, where all the proverbial bodies laid. He didn't know where they were laid. He didn't know all the secret, codes and handshakes and, the secret pathways. Now he knows. He knows everything now. Everyone has revealed themselves to him and anyone in America that's really paying attention. We know who they all are, right? And so I think this whole talk of Trump being an existential threat, what they really mean is that he's a threat to them. So they want to convey it as a threat to America because they know they can't stop him alone. They need us to stop him with them, right? And so that's what I think is going on here. They're trying to get America to turn against Trump because they can't stop him alone. There's only a few hundred of them. There's hundreds of millions of us. And so, obviously, that one, the math on that is quite clear. Even if you aren't good at math, I'm pretty sure you could figure that one out, how that one would go, right? And so that's what I think is going on with that. And it's total BS. It's utter crap. I mean, yes, they have managed to convince some folks, but I think, and I've read some of your comments, I think that's up to us in order to reverse that. Right. Once again, shout out to Scott Presler. And I'll always give Scott Presler a big shout out because he is out here not only talking the talk, but he's literally walking the walk. Right. He's traveling all over the country, speaking with folks and getting them signed up or registered as Republicans in order to, for us all to do our part. Right. And so that's something that I think we all should be trying to do, is emulating Scott Presler or even volunteering with him, right? I've reposted a lot of his stuff. So if you aren't following me on X, definitely follow me and Scott Presler as well, because that's what I think we should all be doing. That's what I think we should all be doing. And just having conversations with folks, right? Don't be afraid to have a conversation. Maybe you have to start it off by tiptoeing. Right. That's one of those kind of things that you kind of have to play it by the situation. Right. That's one thing that I've learned. Like some people you can like go in a little more aggressive and, just hit them with it right off the top. And then others you kind of got to tiptoe around the subject a little bit, warm them up, maybe ask them some questions like, hey, well, how do you feel about this with Joe Biden? How is Joe Biden make it be like before you even mention Trump, talk about Joe and how terrible he is, right? How do you feel about Joe? How has your life been the past couple of years? Things going good? How's the bank account looking? How's the money? Okay, how's the fam? Then step into the alternative, and when they start going on the whole, oh well, Trump bad. Well, how is he bad? How is he bad? Is it because he just said some things that, you didn't like, or, some folks didn't like? Because the last time I checked, he did this, did that, did this and that. And, I'll take all of that with a couple of mean tweets over what Joe Biden is offering. I mean, like, let's be honest here with each other. I've had several conversations that went like that, and mention, because this is also the thing that I've figured out as well with these conversations, is a lot of people don't know what Democrats are actually pushing for, right? A lot of people don't truly understand what the Democrat Party is really for these days. They think the Democrat Party is the same Democrat Party, that was, reasonable at one point, right? Kind of okay for a little bit there. They think it's that Democrat Party, and I'm like, no, that's not the same Democrat Party. Do you agree with this? Well, the Democrat Party does. How about this? Democrat Party does. How do you feel about this thing right here? Well, see, the Democrats were actually pushing for this, and blah, you know what I mean? But let's get back to Christie. I'm sorry, I got off on a little tangent there. I want to play this leaked audio of Christie, and you heard them mention it there in that clip, but here's the leaked audio of what Christie had to say. Take a listen.
And let's not forget she spent $68 million.
Yeah.
I mean, we spent like
Well, when you give land to China and places like that.
Yeah, that's what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, she spent $68 million so far, just on TV. Spent $68 million so far, $59 million by DeSantis, and we spent 12. I mean, who's punching above their weight and who's getting a return on their investment, And she's going to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
she hasn't even been
And she's still 20 points behind Trump in New Hampshire, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he's still going to carry Iowa, right?
Yes, always. I talked to DeSantis, called me, petrified that I would.
He's probably getting out after Iowa.
Well,
So, yeah, he said it himself, right from his mouth. She's going to get smoked. Ron DeSantis called him petrified. Gave him a call, scared, and allegedly, he's getting out after Iowa. Now, I think now that this has dropped, I don't think he'll drop out after Iowa. I think he'll stay in just to try to disprove that one. But you heard it there. Trump's taking a W. Now, obviously, we got to show up and do our part. That is the only thing that really scares me. That's basically it. And I know some of you are like, Rich, like them trying to pull something doesn't scare you? No. I expect it. I'm ready for it. Right? Maybe they cut the power. I don't know. Okay? But if we show up in force, right? If we show up in the numbers that we should, there's nothing that they can do. There's absolutely nothing. And some of you are going to, oh, well, they might try to, fudge the numbers a little bit. And this is my thing. Trump is winning so big, it's beyond that point. Like, you might be able to get away with, a little something to a certain extent. But after a certain point, it becomes so blatantly obvious to everyone, not just conservatives, but to everyone, that is going to have a major negative effect. Right? Because once again, remember, there's a few hundred of them. I'll even give them 1,000. There's 1,000 of them. There's hundreds of millions of us. Come on now. How does that balance out? Don't take a rocket scientist to figure out how that one goes. So that is the only thing that concerns me, is us getting complacent and getting comfortable and saying, oh, we got the W. That is it. And so we have to make sure that we show up and do our part. If we do that, Trump's walking back into that White House, and it's going to be glorious. And listen, I think everyone, all conservatives understand what's happening, what has happened. And I think, at least most conservatives are enthusiastic about going and participating and are ready, I know me, myself, I will be running. I'll be the first person in line. I'm not joking. Not exaggerating. Okay? I'm not kidding. I know some of y'all think I'm joking. Like, no, he's being sarcastic. No, I will be the first person in line. The first. You understand me? The first. I'm so serious. That's how excited I am and ready I am to end this nightmare. That is how excited I am. I can't wait. I hope you guys are excited or as excited as I am. And I hope you take some people with you, right? I know I will. I've already talked to several folks. So, yeah. Christie's out. 3 more to go. And you heard it from him himself. Nikki Haley's getting smoked. And Ron DeSantis, he's scared. Peace and love. I'm out.